Hi, everybody. Mitch Tanenbaum here. Thanks for joining me today. This is the security news update for December 18th, 2022. Next week will be Christmas for all of our clients and folks that listen. Wish you a happy holiday season and a prosperous new year. On the security and privacy front, Cisco has disclosed a new high severity IP phone bug, which includes an exploit for the bug, and unfortunately does not include a patch for the bug. But they do promise that there will be a patch next month sometime. So in the meantime, um, they do have some kind of limited workaround, but apparently it's one of those things where the um, workaround is worse than the problem. Uh, what I would say is that if you do not already have your phone subnetted onto its own isolated network, then this would probably be a good excuse to get that done, because that would ultimately help the problem, because you couldn't get from the phones to the rest of your network. And also on the security and privacy front, Microsoft is suspending or has suspended several third-party developer accounts that signed malicious drivers. The way these drivers work is the bad guys get into your system one way or another, and then they can load these drivers because the drivers are signed. So they've revoked the certificates for these developers, and they promise that they're going to work on a way to stop people from installing these drivers. That is not in place yet. On the other side of the front, new software to check out. GitHub has rolled out a new scanning service, which is actually great. What they will do is for all public repositories, if you opt into it, they will scan the repositories and look for secrets. Secrets are a password, a key, access token, anything like that. There's apparently 200 different formats that they understand, and they will report on that. So that's kind of nifty if you're using GitHub. On the patches side, Apple wants to keep up with the cool kids, because everybody does want to keep up with the cool kids. And they have their 10th 0 day this year. I think that ties them with Google. So for those who say that Apple is way more secure, apparently, I would say at this point it's a bit of a tie. The bug exists in Apple's WebKit, which is the software that everybody has to use for any application that accesses the internet. And there's a new version of the operating systems to cover that. And then on the Microsoft side, because we're an equal opportunity blogger, they released patches to a bunch of stuff this month, but it includes 2 0 days, one of which is being actively exploited in the wild. So now would be a good time to go look at whether or not you've got that patch in place. And if not, raise that on your priority list. On the legislative and legal side, people are jumping on the anti-TikTok, I guess, bandwagon. Utah and Alabama joined some other states, Texas amongst others. I think there's about, I don't know, maybe 10 states that are banning TikTok on government-owned computers. Now, this is mostly symbolic, because in theory, nobody should be using TikTok on a government-owned computer anyway. And if they are, it's a very, very minimal portion of the TikTok usage. On the other hand, Congress has introduced a bill in both the House and the Senate. Unfortunately, they've got about 10 days, including weekends, to enact a law. That's not likely to totally ban TikTok. I think the challenge with banning TikTok is the legal challenges that ByteDance, the company that owns TikTok, will throw up. And I don't know what the legalities are. The law is written sort of in a general way that says, well, if you're owned by the Chinese and you have a lot of visitors and so I think they actually do mention TikTok in the bill, but it's not limited to TikTok. However, there's no other company other than TikTok that would be affected by this bill. So we shall see what happens there. The The SEC, also on the legal front, has charged a crew of social media influencers with making $100 million off of basically what amounts to a pump and dump stock scheme, but they're using their influencer relationships with people to get them to buy stock, which pumps up the price, and then they go dump it. They make a lot of money, and away they go. This follows last month's settlement that Kim Kardashian made. I think she agreed to pay $1.2 million for her influencer activities. I think key thing is, influencers up until now have felt a degree of immunity in terms of whether or not the feds are going to come after them no matter what they did. And I think that era may be at an end for the moment. The cloud on the education front, the Cloud Security Alliance has released a great set of documents, what they're calling the 6 pillars of DevSecOps. For those of you who are not familiar with DevSecOps, that is the merging of development, security, and operations, which I think is a great strategy. And they have released 4 of the 6 pillars. A lot of reading there, but I think good stuff. So if you have a development team, that would be something I would definitely consider looking at. Next, Rackspace continues to slog through their recovery efforts. It doesn't seem like they're doing a great job. They're on day 12. They're still trying to figure out how to migrate folks off of their platform onto Microsoft 365, whether people want to go there or not. And they don't really have a choice because it doesn't look like they had, I guess, it doesn't look like they had backups. They're really being very closed mouth. I'm sure they're waiting for the lawsuits. I think actually a couple of them have already been filed. They're waiting for the lawsuits and they're not really saying anything. So, this is kind of reason I put this in education is because this is a way to learn from other people's pain on what not to do. And I would say, poor customer communications. I would guess not having backups, obviously letting the bad guys in the first place. That's often tough. But you can go look at and see what they're doing and hopefully not repeat their mistake if and when you get into the situation where you have to do that. They also have this great deal where if you want your old emails, right? So if you transfer to Microsoft 365, you'll get new emails. But if you want your old emails, you can open a support ticket. They either will get you your old emails or they won't get you your emails, which kind of gives me an idea that they either don't have backups, the backups are compromised, backups weren't comprehensive, I don't know what, but nothing good. Or you can go pay Barracuda out of your own pocket for Barracuda to try to recover your emails. And I'm guessing they were using Barracuda as a front end. So don't know whether everybody's emails is in Barracuda or just some people, but there's a moral here, which is, if you're counting on your cloud vendor to manage backups for you, that's a really bad strategy. If you go look at every cloud contract, it says, it's your responsibility for making sure that you have good backups of your data. Now, you can back it up in their environment. I don't think in this particular case that might not have helped. You can back it up in a competitor's environment. You can back it up in a third-party environment. Lots of different things you can do. If you need help with that, give us a holler because there are good solutions and they are reasonably affordable. Again, nothing is free, but they are reasonably affordable. In the breaches department, Common Spirit Health, which is the merger of Catholic Health and Dignity Health, released some details about their attack. They said again that it exposed the data on more than 500,000 people. But what the new piece of information here is that it was the Franciscan Health Network that was attacked. They claim that no patient medical records, other patient data, yes, not medical records, were exposed. So that's, I guess, a little bit of good news. And then also on the breach front, Uber had yet another breach. I like to say another day, another Uber breach. And they say this is not related to any of the breaches that they've already announced, but the Uber data is showing up on the dark web. Customers, they say, no, they don't say this, I'm saying this, shouldn't blame Uber because it was our vendor that got breached. and it's our vendor's fault. But who picked the vendor? Oh, right, it was you. So I think if you don't have a great vendor cyber risk management program, the things that we've seen over the last couple of months indicate that that's probably not a viable solution, that you really do need to work hard on figuring out how you vet your vendors, because you're gonna get sued, right? And maybe you can go after the vendor, maybe the vendor's got some money, maybe the vendor doesn't, maybe the vendor has insurance, maybe they don't. But you're gonna get sued. So vetting those vendors would be a really important thing to go do. No big surprise. Crypto billionaire or ex-billionaire, now hundredaire, Sam Bankman-Fried, who's both of his parents, by the way, are attorneys, and both of his parents apparently advised him. So problem there. But Sam was a former CEO of FTX, the crypto exchange that went filed for bankruptcy, based in the Bahamas, which is notorious about having very loose corporate regulations. He's been arrested. He will likely be extradited to the United States. It likely will take a year or more to get him back here to the United States, unless he decides to waive extradition for some reason. Not clear about that. But it will get pretty interesting once that is done. So it's going to be interesting. Stay tuned. Researchers are saying that the Russians are not only manipulating Facebook and Twitter and social media like that, but they're also manipulating the alt-right media like Trump's Truth Social. They're doing it because their goal is to destabilize things, and the best way to destabilize it is to go off and get the left and the right pissed off. And if you do that, then people don't know where to look to actually find information that's accurate. Next, and this one's a kind of a bit of a biggie. The justice system really can't deal with AirTag stalking. I've talked about AirTag stalking. A lot of times it's between ex-spouses or ex-partners, but not always. And sometimes it's just pure traditional stalking. And some women are suing Apple, saying they're not doing enough. Apple has done a decent amount of work. I don't know if it's adequate, but a decent amount of work on the iPhone side. But the solution they have for Android users is totally inadequate. And these guys are trying to get class certified. We'll see what they do. I'm sure Apple would like to say it's not our fault, not our problem. My guess is the courts are not going to go for that, but we shall see. So this will go on for quite a while, likely years. So we'll see. And lastly, in the security news bite section, Rackspace had the actual gall to say, look how wonderful we are, because we were able to contain the damage of our bad business practices to just the Microsoft Exchange environment. The rest of our business did not get corrupted. So we were really wonderful. That if nothing else, even if you believe that to be an accurate assessment, it is really tone deaf. So I assume that Rackspace is going to lose a lot of customers out of this. Twitter dissolves its Trust and Safety Council. We shall see what that means. Their Trust and Safety Council really didn't have any authority to do anything, so I don't know that it's going to make a big amount of difference. But from a PR standpoint, it's not a great thing. Free speech is good, sort of. Musk banned a number of, like a half a dozen, that's a number, journalists for supposedly tweeting information about his real-time location, what he calls doxing. At least some of those journalists claim that they didn't do that. But it is kind of interesting, because he had said early on that he wasn't going to do that. So then he changed his mind. And Microsoft is finally going to disable Internet Explorer, probably 10 years too late, in the February release. So for those of you that still run Internet Explorer only applications that don't run in Edge with Internet Explorer compatibility mode, there's probably going to be a way that you can turn it back on, but it will be disabled by default. And as I said earlier, TikTok could get banned completely by a new bill that's in Congress. I don't know if the bill will pass. There's not a lot of time left in the session. I assume that if it doesn't make it through this session, it will come back next session, I assume. And, it may meet a friendly audience there. I mean, I don't know. But I do think there's a bunch of legal uncertainty in terms of if it does get passed and the president signs it. I think there's a lot of legal uncertainty as to exactly what will happen. So with that, thank you for listening. We appreciate your time. If we can help you at all, please let us know. And until next time, stay cyber safe.
Turnkey Cybersecurity and Privacy Solutions offers the complete cybersecurity program for small to medium-sized businesses. They include everything needed to secure your business and meet compliance requirements. Visit our website at turnkeycybersecurityandprivacysolutions.com to learn more.